right, slanging my, banging my, swinging my coup. DeVille, scoop, DeVille.
Into our topic, I just want to welcome a guest. So, you want to stick around. We have Mildred Lopez with us tonight, who's going to be talking to us about how she lost 202 pounds in 9 months. So, you don't want to miss this.
Yes, that's amazing.
In 9 months.
9 months.
9 months. And so, before we get into that, yeah. So, first, we want to thank Mildred for being here with us.
Good evening, Miss Mildred.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
Yes, pretty good. Welcome. Yes, and we do have a video that we're going to get into. So to get this started, so do we have our video ready?
When it comes to what you bite, chew, and swallow, your choices have a direct and long-lasting effect on the most powerful organ in your body.
That was a quick video,
Wow,
but
that was.
that is powerful in the quickness because I worked at a behavioral health center here in Fort Wayne, and we sat in front of a psychiatrist, a known psychiatrist, and he said that for years they treated the head as a separate entity from the body. They didn't correlate that what you ate also affected your mental status. This has only been a study, a good study of your nutrition and your mental health for the last 15, 20 years, 25 at the most. But for the longest, they overlooked the nutritional value in your mental health. So you are what you eat. You think what you eat. Your brain reacts to what you eat. So we got to be careful what we do put into our bodies.
Well, I mean, if they didn't think like that, how you not understand how a person alcohol? You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, you when you drink,
Well,
you do.
I'm gonna tell you the
And the
difference,
same-
and that's one of
okay.
the things. Because of the chemical change of alcohol, they didn't think of the chemical changes in the food. They thought food was natural, so they didn't associate that. But it's amazing that you would think that your head is part of the body. They would all keep it as one and address it as one entity. But for the longest, the psychiatric community and the nutrition community were distant cousins.
Well, and I think it's interesting too that your serotonin levels, that's what, affects your mood, your sleep habits, your overall mental health. 95% of your serotonin is produced in your GI tract. So the connection there, I mean, it is almost 100% of what you're doing, what you're putting into your body is being absorbed into your mind, into your mental health, your mood. So definitely a huge connection there.
So when we think about that and just think about our Black community and what we're eating and the foods that we have access to that's readily available to us, do you feel like that has an effect, our food choices and what we're intaking daily? Do you feel like that has some impact on our behavior from day to day?
So I'm glad that you brought that up because done in 2019 and it did find Fort Wayne specific. Southeast and southern parts of Fort Wayne were desert. So what that means is people literally do not have access to foods that are healthy for them. In fact, I believe 2.3 million households in the US are actually living more than a mile away without transportation of the nearest grocery store. So it has a huge effect on choices if you cannot get to those places. So while we're on that quickly, I do want to shout out, our local people in the community that are trying to eliminate the food deserts. Utopia, the grocery store, the Smileys, Ty Simmons. So we're well on our way making that go away, but it is an issue.
Right. And, so thinking about that, another thing as far as anxiety in our communities, when we decide we're going to do something about our weight, a lot of times communities don't have a gym, a facility. Luckily, we
Right.
just got one in our area.
Right.
So it was kind of unsafe for people to go out and walk in certain areas, or they didn't feel comfortable. And so that was one of the things that was causing extra stress too. So when you
Yes.
start thinking about it from a mental perspective.
Right.
Yeah. So, one thing for me, I can say, I know I have tried a million and one different diets, and you try to figure out what's good to eat. And just yesterday, you're driving down the street and you're trying to find a place to get something healthy and quick. So, what we have to realize is when we decide we want to eat healthier, you got to almost meal
Yeah,
prep,
absolutely.
Yeah,
ahead of
You
time,
got to.
because that's the only time that I seem to do right. If
Right.
I prep my meal, maybe that Sunday night and I get everything prepared. But if I don't do that and I'm driving down the street, what's the first thing I'm going to get?
Mhm.
What's right there?
What's
Fast food.
Especially on the south side.
Yeah, you're going to pay for the convenience,
You're
which
gonna
is
pay
not going
for
to
it.
be healthy.
Absolutely.
gonna
So
pay
it
for it,
matters
and
living in an area where we
Right.
obviously know this is the food desert. Yes. So, Mildred,
Yes.
honey,
How are you?
listen, I know you're going to take us on a major journey. And so I just want you right now to think about some of the things you just heard us talk about. And so be prepared to talk on those things as you get ready to get into your testimony. I'm sure you're going to help us with some of the food choices. I know I was sharing with you earlier some of the bad things that I pick up when I'm on the run, some of the snacks and different things like that. So I just kind of want you to keep that in the surface of your mind. We got another video we're going to look at real quick.
Okay.
Long-term consumption of other fats, like trans and saturated fats, may compromise brain health. Meanwhile, proteins and amino acids, the building block nutrients of growth and development, manipulate how we feel and behave. Amino acids contain the precursors to neurotransmitters, the chemical messengers that carry signals between neurons, affecting things like mood, sleep, attentiveness, and weight.
Food, snacks.
Facts.
Do you know some people that they eat and they get sleepy instantly?
The itis.
The
Yeah.
itis. I mean, if you look at it, I have a chart where in our community, the Black community, we do not eat a lot of vegetables. We consume a lot of meat, and it's bad. A lot of it is not good for us because we like ground beef. You can barely digest it. Chicken, I'm a chicken eater. I
I
love my
thought chicken was good for you.
No, it's not at
Oh.
all. That's almost as bad as eating pork.
I'm not receiving it.
Hey, it's real. It's just bad as
I'm
it's
gonna
possible.
opt
I mean, I can't say because
Good thing I
I
don't
eat
eat
chicken. I
chicken.
can eat chicken every day. I mean, that's just me. But I mean, we don't eat the healthier foods. We eat fish, we eat turkey, but we don't eat it like we should.
We don't eat the whole grains and
Yeah.
those
I
type
mean,
of things.
actually, when it comes to like vegetables and good foods that's healthy on this chart, we are last.
Mhm.
I mean, this is the food consumption by race and ethnic in the United States.
Mhm.
Mm.
So,
And this is
so
about
you saying black equal lack?
boy.
You know,
I mean,
it's-
but you have to look at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of fresh produce, in our area, and it's hard to get to it. And then on top of that, is more expensive to eat healthy than it is to eat, junk food.
but somebody that's listening to you right now, they're thinking that's an excuse.
Exactly.
it is an excuse, but
I know, but there are people that's listening right now to us, and they're thinking that's a bunch of what.
I mean, you literally
can get your
you can get it,
food
but you
and-
literally have to travel way beyond, your area to get it. I mean, literally, the stores on this side of town don't carry the freshest fruit or and it's just like, and then we turn to canned vegetables, which is good, but it's not good for you. And not like my they grow theirs now. So it's like they just go straight out to the garden and grab, onions and things like
right,
that.
and that's
So-
awesome. But don't you think at some point we have to?
Stop
I'm
making
not gonna say
excuses.
stop making excuses, but don't you think that we as parents, I'm not a parent, but we as adults, we have to plan ahead for even our children, and we have to show them better eating habits. Because if we think way back to where all of this stuff began, where we start eating all these bad fried chicken legs and wings and all of this what collard greens with fat back in it and all the different
collard
stuff
greens are
that we
good for you.
started eating from way back. You know, that fat macaroni cheese that everybody loved.
Mhm.
I'm saying that's what we were eating, and then
Comfort
that's what we
foods.
cook and we put on the table and we serve it to our kids, our
I mean, it's,
young
it's
adults. And
generational.
so, and that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
But somewhere, where do we begin to change what's actually sitting on our dinner table or what's in our cabinets?
Somebody has to start.
Right.
Somebody has to start. I agree. but I
Somebody
do eat
has
my
to
vegetables.
make that change.
And here's the biggest word that you said that sticks out
Yes,
to me
Mildred.
is preparation. So I saw, and it was a picture of fruit and French fries from McDonald's. First of all, the fruit was like $6, the burger was $1. If you go to Kroger or Aldi's and you cut up your fruit, you can eat fruit for extremely cheap. So you're not paying a high price at McDonald's for the fruit. You're paying a high price for the convenience. To where if you would have just prepared, it would have taken you just as much time in the morning as it did for you to go through the drive-through. So the word
Especially nowadays.
preparation is huge, but it's really not as big of a deal as everybody thinks it is, because in the end, you're saving money, you're saving time, and you're saving health.
But a lot of people look at the 2-for-1. You know, so you can get 2 sandwiches
No,
for
really.
$3. And so that's what sticks in our
It is,
mind.
but it's
And
still
a
our
bypass
choice.
10 years later.
Can you repeat that, Miss Mildred?
And a bypass 10 years later. A lot of times, as low income Black people, we tend to convenience shop. You know, you talked about the food desert. It's possible to still eat healthy and still be on food stamps and still be in a food desert. Learning how to lose weight has helped me to see that I'd rather do it right now than take the shortcut and wind up in a hospital bed for 6 months and think about the cost on that angle.
Wow.
So we just have to be intentional. You know, we
Mhm.
talk about that here all the time, being intentional. So we have to be intentional about our lives. The body that God created, we are a temple. So what we put in our bodies is a reflection how we feel about ourselves.
Absolutely. And
Can I jump in?
Yes.
Okay, you said as Black people we're meat connoisseurs.
Yes,
Is
we
that
are.
what you said? Okay, so there are heart disease.
Yeah.
So it says heart disease is the leading cause of death for men, women, and people of most racial and ethnic groups in the United States. About 647 Americans die from heart disease each year. Numbers crazy, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
So you got heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure, and stroke, Alzheimer's disease, obesity, LD cholesterol, acne, erectile dysfunction,
Mhm.
premature death is what comes at the end of that list. A majority study says undertaken by scientists at Massachusetts General Hospital. They monitored health and diet records of more than 130 people over the course of 30 years. They found that raising the population or the proportion of animal protein in the diets of more than 10%, but higher than that, they died from diseases correlated or assumed to be attached to the assumption of meat.
Just meat.
Just
Yeah,
me.
just-
Yeah,
meat.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about soul food,
Yeah.
and you know, I can't help it.
You
So-
it's possible. You still can have those comfort foods. You talked
Yes.
about macaroni and cheese. A lot of times we think protein comes from animal. But if you think about the animals that we consume, they don't eat animals. They eat plant-based foods,
Correct.
grains. So we're not eating the animal for the protein. the animal can't produce protein like we can't produce.
I mean, but we're
protein.
taught that the animal, the
That's
meat
what we're
is the
taught.
protein. We're taught that.
That's what
Mhm.
we're taught. So, as Christians, as a believer, the Bible talks about transferring or transforming your mind. That includes what we're being taught in school. A lot of times we've talked here about the lack of information that has been dealt out to the students pertaining to Black history. That
Mhm.
includes health as well. C-Stats mention the study about the mind and the body being two entities for a long time. That includes body and your digestive system as well, because everything we consume is broken down in the digestive system. So if we're not conscious and intentional on what we ingest, we're going to miss the mark.
Absolutely.
Healthy. I mean, I think it's just innate in you or becomes a part of you, man. You just have bad eating habits, workout healthy habits, so your physical being, nourishment.
Well, I got a question. I mean, well, not a question, more of a statement. I look at my grandmother. My grandmother's 91 years old. Well, 92. She's 92. And I ain't seen them slaughter hogs. I ain't seen them. It's just like I look at it. If she can live 92 years, and hopefully she can live another 92, I ain't ready for her to go nowhere yet. But and she ate those the same thing that my mom put on the table for us. She put on the table for them. Her mom put on the table for them. What is the
environment was
difference?
different, right?
What environment? Yeah, I mean because they raise their own. They raise their own hogs. They raise their own cows. They raise their own chicken. You see what I'm saying? So they'll wait till this hog get 300 some
Right.
plus pounds, and yep, it's time for him to go ahead take him in the smokehouse.
Right, but and so I just say that because the environment matters. So back then, the food, the ground, the air, everything was totally different. And I'm just saying, even now, depending on where people live, people that choose to live outside of city limits, they will have that same experience. So I don't know if that's the case, but just
Well, I mean,
keeping that thought in mind, processed foods
yeah, I mean, we
are
eat
a
a lot of
lot.
processed food, and
Yeah, a
that's our
lot.
Chemicals.
biggest thing.
Yes,
Chemicals,
Yeah,
definitely.
more
chemicals. I mean,
unhealthy
we
for
do
you.
eat a lot of processed food.
So
I mean,
when it's quick, so using the microwave, so any foods, if it don't take you a long time to cook it, I'm just saying, so the faster it is, then usually the less healthy it is for you. So that's a fact.
We on time crunch. We need
Yeah,
to.
I was gonna say we have another video. If we can watch this video real quick.
Like the other organs in our bodies, our brains also benefit from a steady supply of micronutrients. Antioxidants in fruits and vegetables strengthen the brain to fight off free radicals that destroy brain cells, enabling your brain to work well for a longer period of time. And without powerful micronutrients like the vitamins B6, B12, and folic acid, our brains would be susceptible to brain disease and mental decline. Trace amounts of the minerals iron, copper, zinc, and sodium are also fundamental to brain health and early cognitive development. In order for the brain to efficiently transform and synthesize these valuable nutrients, it needs fuel, and lots of it. While the human brain only makes up about 2% of our body weight, it uses up to 20% of our energy resources.
So, simply put, that was a lot of information. And, I just want to say that when you think of your body, when you think of your brain is always working. Even when we're asleep, the brain is working. So, the brain needs fuel. If you think of a vehicle, a luxury vehicle, it takes fuel, more than likely premium fuel, just like our brains, our bodies. So, our brain needs the best type of fuel that we can give it because our body is an investment. So I think that's a really good way to look at it because fuel is fuel. So you could use a premium for your body or you could use this that's processed foods and everything else. So just like a vehicle, one is going to cause it to run better than the other.
You know, something that's interesting to me, and Jill, and what you just said is powerful. A lot of times you wake up in the morning, you hear that you're supposed to have breakfast, you know, so you can have that fuel and that energy so that you feel a certain way. But then there's so many people that say, I don't eat breakfast.
Right.
You know, I don't eat until after 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, etc. So it's like you grow up not really knowing what to do, what to eat, and don't eat the apple with the egg. It's like, you know, so when we start thinking about that, you know, just think about your diet. Are you a person that have breakfast every morning?
I
So
never used to. I never used to be.
let
So
me
the way
let me ask a question. What is breakfast?
Breaking the fast.
Correct.
Right.
A lot of times when you say breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
people think about eggs, bacon, toast.
Yes.
But breakfast can happen at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
12 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just a meal to break your fast. So if you want to
Absolutely.
eat dinner for breakfast, then you can do that.
I do it all the time.
Right. And I think you have to train me. I never used to eat breakfast, but you have to train your mind. I had to tell myself, like, I am eating for fuel. I'm not eating for taste. If I was eating for taste, I would have something totally different than what I normally have in the morning. So, you know, like Mildred said, it's breaking a fast. Breakfast
fast.
is
Right.
the most important meal of the day to get your luxury vehicle moving and get it in motion.
So if you ate yesterday, wouldn't your body still have something that is working on when you wake up in the morning?
Depends
So
on
would we say that that's a myth then? I know Clarence, you were talking about myths earlier.
Yes.
So we would actually put that in a myth category.
Yes. Yes.
So when you are ready to break that fast, it doesn't matter what time of day, you can break it. Now, you know, one of the things I want to mention real quick, and then we're going to let Mildred speak. Uh, a lot of people don't understand that when employers look at you, sometimes they actually check your health, your background to
Mhm.
see what type of person you are because they feel like depending on your health habits,
Mhm.
that's going to tell them how you move, how you
Right,
think.
right.
And yeah, so if you have that preventive mindset, they feel like you are a better employer or would be a better employee.
Less
And so,
costly.
Yes.
yes,
They're thinking about
absolutely.
the insurance premium that they have to
Yes.
pay.
Right.
Yes. And who knew?
Right.
Hmm.
Yeah, so all of that matters. So right now, we would like to get into and Mildred, you have the floor. I want you to speak about your testimony and share your journey with us, please.
Um, I weighed 326 pounds for over 15 years. And that came on due to depression, anxiety, um, a lot of domestic violence and situations that I was involved in. And I became addicted to food, amongst other things. That just opened the door to Pandora's box. And I was very, very confident in myself. I thought, you know, I look cute regardless, but I was hurting myself. I was killing myself very slowly. 326, 28 pills a day from um, depression, anxiety, pain meds, diabetic meds, and injections. I've tried all the diets, all the fads, and until I started to change my mind and how I thought about food. I would wake up and eat just to eat. And I had to use food as a source of energy as opposed to just living just to eat. I needed to eat to live. So that took a long time. I almost died twice. The second time, my son came from a visit at 326. I was at my highest weight. I couldn't bathe myself. I had my two younger daughters would help me take a shower, wash my hair. I was in my 30s using a walker or a cane. I can barely stand up for 5, 10 minutes at a time. I couldn't go up and down stairs. Was very difficult. Um, and my son said, "Mom, I don't want you to die." And that statement really scared me because my mom, I lost her at 49, right after 9/11. And to think that I would leave my children here to have to take care of me, I'm not a quitter. So I had to change my mindset and getting closer to God and learning to love myself was a hardest part for me. Um, so understanding my spirituality, my physical, and my mental had to come together um, on one accord in order for me to start to lose the weight. Like I said, I tried slim fast, paleo, keto, no carbs, all protein, um, calorie. I tried it all. And until I started to take note, literally, of a diary, keeping track of everything I put in my mouth, from a soft drink, a piece of candy, and I would break down the calories, the fat, the sodium, everything until I said, I'm just eating garbage pretty much, or starving myself, which was a disaster. So it took 9 months, but it was a journey to get to those 9 months.
So, what type of family support did you have with with the decision to move forward with the
Just my four
bypass?
kids, to be honest. They were all scared because the doctors tell you you can die right there um, on the operating table. So that was very scary for them. And I got a lot of, "You're taking the easy way out," um, because I did have surgery after I lost 82 pounds. Um, 74 to 82 pounds I lost on my own. And then I opted to have surgery because I was so sick. My organs were shutting down. My blood pressure was sky high. It would run 223 over 189. I would wake up with my sugar levels at 526. And for a lot of people, they should be in a coma, in a hospital, bedridden. And that's all scared me, from my son's statement to the numbers that the doctors were showing me. I didn't want to live like that. I didn't
Mhm.
want to just get by. I wanted a good quality of life, and I wasn't having it at that time.
Mildred, you stated that you were over 300 pounds for approximately 15 years. Is that accurate?
Yes.
So every day that you woke up, did you think, I probably need to do something about this? Or did you just wake up one day and say, I'm done? I mean, at what moment did you know
I
this is
stopped
not going to
lying.
work?
I stopped lying to myself. A lot of times when we are obese, and in my case, morbidly obese, we tell other people, "Oh, yeah, I eat right," or in front of people, you'll eat your little salad, but go home and binge eat. And that's what I was doing because of the addiction. Until I took care of that mental part of it, I was able to be honest that I needed to do better and live a better life. I'm sorry, I can't hear his question.
Can you repeat that? She said she couldn't hear you.
Have I
Okay.
gained back the weight? No. I've
No.
No, he asked, were you always like
no.
large?
I was a premature baby. So when I got to 326, I actually got shorter. So I wasn't always obese, but my family's obese. My mom struggled with her weight. My mom's side of the family, a lot of obesity. So to me, that was normal. The lifestyle also to me was normal. But now that I learned about me, about God, and who I am, my thought process has changed. A lot of times I heard Eric say about his grandmother and his mom putting the same meal on the table, and she's 90 something, and she survived. But it's the diseases are not transmitted by genes. They're transmitted by traditional means. So your food. So my family, high blood pressure, diabetic, a lot of people in my family. And I wound up with the same thing. I thought it's just hereditary until I started breaking down what food meant, how my body processed it, and how I think about the food.
So how did you train yourself as far as portions? That I think that is also one of the hard parts for somebody that was eating like you, and you said you would go to sleep eating, wake up eating, just eat the whole house. Basically, is what
Pretty
you shared
much.
with us. How did you? Because when we start thinking about the mind, you have to change your mindset in order to like change your portions or the thought of that. I would think your cravings. How did that work?
With any addiction, it's about self control,
Mm.
your faith. And I wanted to stop living a lie.
Yeah.
I wanted to stop opening doors that shouldn't be open. So self control was one, giving everything to God and saying, I surrender all. I was at my lowest point. I was an addict. I was been locked up. I didn't have my children for a short period of time. So all this was taking place as my health was declining drastically. So I had to do something. I had to do it for me. I remember my ex husband once telling my daughters that he couldn't stop drinking for them. As an addict, I understood what he meant was I can't use someone else as an excuse to quit something. I have to do it because I want to do it. So I wanted to live a healthier life. I wanted to be more involved in my children's school life. And I know that everything I went through from surgeries to the pills, the weight gain, was only God giving me an opportunity to understand that mental piece. My
Mm.
mom was also an addict. Um, we were foster kids at a very young age. So understanding what she was going through and now having the tools to get myself, with God's help, get myself out of that tradition, those family curses that people talk about, the generational curses. That was something that I wanted to break in my family.
That's good. When you say generational curses, I wanted to ask you, is there any particular person or organization or anything that you were blaming or that you blame when you see people that are obese?
Lack of information. The Bible talks about that people perish for a lack of knowledge. So we talked about what we're being taught, the traditions and the food. And I think that if we don't take ownership, if I give you information, I would hope that you would go back and research it for yourself. Just like any time that we're teaching or preaching at a church, I would hope and pray that that individual is going back home and seeking, researching for themselves to make sure that what I said didn't come off the page wrong or didn't align up with God's word. I feel the same way about food. You know, there's a nutritional list in the back of foods. People aren't reading those correctly, informing yourselves to be better. We don't need meat. I'm a meat eater myself, but I'm transitioning to eat more plant based meals and not miss anything, not even seafood, which is one of my favorites.
Well, I think you did an awesome, amazing job. So I just want to recognize the fact that you did lose what 74 to 80 pounds
Yes,
On my own,
on
yes.
your own. So that is to be commended and
that is an
celebrated
Yes, it
accomplishment.
Right.
because that is major.
Mildred, would you agree that you now understand that your body is an investment and that this is you do owe this to yourself and your children as the highest form of self-care and that you are worthy of every bit of it?
Oh, absolutely. I grew up being taught that my kids came first, and that's what I did. I let myself go. I took care of the house, the husband, the community, the church, and I was kept pouring out of myself, and nobody was pouring into me. So now it's God, me, my children, and anybody else that comes after.
Amen.
Because if I can't have if I can't don't allow God to fill me, I can't fill anybody else's cup.
So as we get ready to close, can you help someone that may be in the position that you were in back then before you lost the weight?
One of the things that I want to share is to be truthful to yourself and to know that somebody out there has gone through the same thing you have gone through. Yes, we live in a food desert in some areas, but there's programs out there that can help facilitate you to get fresh fruits and vegetables. We have farmers market in town here, St. Joe Community Health Foundation. I've taught with them the healthy eating, active living classes. There's groups that you can attend. So reach out. You're not alone. I always thought I was alone, and I have met some wonderful people, and I stay in contact with them because we need support. We need to help each other. So reach out, call somebody. You can Facebook me, instant message me if you need some advice or direction or just want an ear. I'm here.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you
with
very
that,
much.
Jill, you have something for us, honey?
If I care for me, then I can care for you. If I care for me, then I can teach you how to better care for you. If I care for you, then you can teach others how to treat you. If you care for you, then you can give others permission to care for themselves. If others care for themselves, they start to care for each other. If we all care for each other, then we can start to care for this planet. If we all care for ourselves, each other, and our planet, we create the kind of change that builds a positive future for our children, their children, and so on. It all starts with self care. It all starts with you.
Yes. Before we go, Sequoia. Oh, okay. Yes. Awesome. Before we exit, we want to have Sequoia, Mildred's daughter, say a few words. Sequoia, you in there?
Are you in here?
You ready, Sequoia?
Yes, I'm here.
Can't hear you.
I'm having a hard
Yes.
time hearing.
Couple
Well,
seconds. She's getting ready. Yes.
Sorry. we're
Okay, here
having
we go.
some Technical difficulties.
That's okay.
That's okay.
While they're getting ready, getting all mic'd up, I just want to remind you that your choices matter. So when it comes to food and being healthy, you have to make better choices.
Yes, yes.
Yes. Guys, ready in there?
Or-
Almost.
See if I
Sequoia,
look
you
like a
ready?
deer.
Yes, I'm good.
All right.
I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead.
It just went out again.
Go ahead.
It just went out again.
You said go ahead.
We're ready for you.
They're ready for you.
We can hear you, honey.
But I can't hear you.
They can hear you.
But I can't hear them.
They said go.
Well,
Mildred, pass the headphones. See if that.
was
Okay,
gonna
wait.
say-
I can hear now. I can hear. I just wanted to say that you're doing a good job and stuff. And I was a little piece of her journey, of her weight loss journey, going through it. I know how much of a struggle it was from being 3-something to what she is now. And she's so much happier with her weight now. And her mental has changed with the people that she has allowed in her life. And I think that has a big part, that plays a big role in her life, because she's not accepting anything less than what she needs or wants. And that goes back to her weight loss journey that I think. And I think she did it. Oh, she's tearing up. I think she's doing a really good job keeping the weight off and stuff.
Wow.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Sequoia, for sharing
Thank you.
that.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, that's what you need. You need people that love you to celebrate you
Absolutely.
and recognize your accomplishments.
Work
So-
with you and celebrate you.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. This is Neutral Voices, and we will see you tomorrow night for the Voice of the People.
If you want to do your own thing, you must understand there will be a price to pay. Only thing you're complaining about is how to have what I want without paying a price. There is no such life. If what you want means so much to you, you must pay the price. But if you find the price is too much for what little you want to do, you will step back naturally. This is so with every step in our life. When we want to do something, there will be a price attached to it. We must evaluate, do I want to pay this price? What I want, does it mean so much to me? Some people want it so badly, they're willing to pay any price. For some people, it's a passing interest, so they will drop it and they'll go on. There's nothing wrong with both. Both are fine.
Chase 405 is the freeway, slanging my, banging my, swinging my coupe. DeVille, school.